I've had the Legion Go since launch. I would say it's a pretty rocky launch. There's a lot of software bugs, just different issues people are coming up with. In this video, I'm going to go over the top issues that I've seen reported on the internet and that I've encountered by myself. And I think because of these reasons, you should probably wait to buy a Legion Go. Alright, I'm testing the Legion Go fan speed at idle. So I'm set on balanced thermal mode, nothing is running in the background. This is kind of what it sounds like at idle. The noise floor of this room is probably like 30 dB, so it's significantly louder. As you can see, it gets to about 57 dB. It's definitely noticeable. The tone is how you can hear it on the microphone. It's basically a slight whir. Now let's try 100% fan speed mode. So it jumps up 15 to 20 dB to about 70 dB. For reference, 70 dB is about a conversation volume you would have with someone standing 3 to 6 feet away from you. Now, let's go back from full speed back to whatever it thinks is at idle. You see, as it's coming down from 100 back to wherever it is at idle, there is a range where there's whining sound. This is something Lenovo should address. They should have the fan curve just avoid this region where it makes this whining. I think that's what people are encountering when they're playing an actual game and it hits whatever temperature causes it to go to that RPM range. They hear that whine. I'll replay it back for you right now so you can get a good sense of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do a sound test of the Legion Go speakers at maximum volume. The microphone is actually on my neck, so it's in a similar position to where you would actually be listening to the Legion Go, since the Legion Go speakers fire upwards and not towards you. So I'm in that similar position. The phone is, with the sound meter, is pointing directly at the speakers, just because that's easier for me to show you. And I'll also do a comparison of this Legion Go against another typical handheld device, a cell phone. So here we go. Alright, I'm going to do a sound test at a maximum volume on my S22 Ultra. Just like for the Legion Go, I have the sound meter faced directly kind of where the speaker is. As you can see, it kind of looks like it actually gets a little bit louder than the Legion Go. It looks like it averages, you know, high 80s to high 90s, around there. Whereas the Legion Go was more in the 85-ish range. So from the sound meter and just me listening to these clips after I recorded them, I've done this a few times now, it really is, the cell phone, the S22, actually seems louder than the Legion Go, which is kind of disappointing. I mean, look at the size and girth difference. You think with the space, you could build a better sound solution with bigger physical speakers and more power. But that's just not the case. I will say, however, the Legion Go sound is more balanced, whereas the phone is definitely missing some of the lower frequency ranges compared to the Legion Go. But yeah, it is disappointing, but I would say the speakers aren't unusable. They're still plenty louder than the maximum like system noise that the Legion Go can make. So you at least could be able to drown out whatever noise that is making, so you could still hear whatever you're listening to. It just won't be spectacular. And definitely not as good as the ROG Ally, which has front-facing speakers, which I'm thinking alleviates most of the problems. So another complaint and issue about the Legion Go is the quirky quick settings menu. So when you press this Legion button right here, a quick settings menu overlay is supposed to come over the game, even if it's in full screen, to show you the most, you know, critical controls you can have for the tablet, like changing the resolution or changing the power mode. So when I click it though, nothing happens, and it's been like that since launch. So another thing about the quick settings, which always works on the desktop where it's most useless, is that it's still organized a little bit clunky. It was clunkier before, earlier this week, where they made an update to the software. You used to have to press this once and you would get actually a menu on the left, which did something. And then if you press it twice in succession, then you would get quick settings. And then if you press it like 3 times, you get something else or something like that. But they wised up and they made it simpler, where just pressing it only brings up this quick settings menu. Now the menu itself is still cluttered though. Like, I have resolution, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and lighting effects on the primary tab. I don't want necessarily those things on the primary tab. On the secondary tab, I have things like frame rate monitor and thermal mode, OS power mode, and fan speed. Those things should be on this tab, and some of these things should be on no tab or on a different tab, or somehow all of them are on the same one. It just makes it more cumbersome. When I bring this up, I have to go to the next one, and then it doesn't make sense. This is a learning they can take from the ROG Ally. If you use that quick settings menu, it has pretty much the things you want on the very first screen, and there's no fussing around. And it also comes out on full screen apps, unlike this one at the moment. Probably the biggest complaint about the Legion Go I've seen, especially on the subreddit for the Legion Go, is the dead zone issue. So the joysticks, while in-game, seem to have a giant dead zone, and it's very noticeable in first-person shooters while aiming. So let me show you. So I'll move the joystick a little bit, about 20%, 30% engaged, and nothing happens. Nothing happens, 40, and then I might get something, and then all of a sudden I get everything. So it's very, very hard. See, like that, I barely get anything, everything. It makes it very hard to precisely control your aiming, making some of the games, if they're fast-paced and actually competitive, or actually require precision and accuracy, almost unplayable. In Fallout probably doesn't matter, but if you're playing like Call of Duty Online, it's probably a no-go for you. Interestingly, the dead zone issue only appears in-game. So if I just go on the gamepad tester website, see, every little movement right from the start is registered on both joysticks. Any little movement at all. So whatever it is, it's definitely a software issue, not a hardware issue. And this is something Legion and Lenovo need to fix on this device, because it makes a lot of games unplayable, as I mentioned earlier. Another issue that Lenovo could fix in software for the Legion Go is the mapping of the start and select or start and view buttons. So usually, you know, like on an Xbox controller, your start and select are here and here, or, you know, in the middle next to each other. But Lenovo decided to put them on the left controller down here. Now, functionally, this works okay in most situations, but there are situations where the position is assumed to be somewhere like this for the start and select button in some applications in some games, and it makes it hard to manipulate those controls when they're in this position. For example, in Moonlight, if you want to exit your session, you do R1, L1, and start select. Now, if they were here, that would be easy to do. Not that so hard. You won't do it unintentionally, but you can do it deliberately. Now, doing it here, trying to press these two, and then trying to hit L1 and R1 at the same time is very difficult. And you're gonna just cause a lot of missed inputs. It'll be, and strange things will happen when you mistime it on the different buttons. It's also just annoying because everyone's used to having them here. So games where you're, exiting and entering a menu very quickly and repeatedly will become a chore because they're down here and only one hand can reach them. For example, Alan Wake, you're always going in and out from the menu, and having it here is just inconvenient. But I feel like they can just easily let you remap these two Legion buttons. In Lenovo Space, it already lets you remap a lot of buttons, it's just those two are not available. So you go here, controller, and then button mapping profile, and you can access all the different buttons. So one workaround for not having start and select up here is you can map the buttons on the back of the Legion Go, which are usually not existent on an Xbox, to start and select. So I usually put it on this button and then this button. And that's because these two buttons here, which is another design issue, are very easy to hit when you're holding the controller accidentally. So since your grip is like this, your fingers kind of naturally actually rest on these two buttons. So you'll inadvertently hit them when you're playing a game and you're not resting the Legion Go on something, because you'll squeeze or you'll shift your hand a little bit and you'll just accidentally touch those two buttons. So I wouldn't map them to anything ever because they'll just cause some missed inputs. So one of my biggest issues with the Legion Go right now, and is something I encountered even as a pretty tech savvy person, is that I got the Legion Go, I opened it up and I started playing some games. I played some old games like Sleeping Dogs, Grand Theft Auto 5, whatever, and the performance was terrible. I put it in basically 720p mode, still terrible, 1080p mode with upscaling, still terrible, just all terrible across the board. But what I learned is that you need to alter a VRAM setting in the BIOS settings to give the graphics unit more memory. Because by default, you see here, it starts at 3 gigs. And 3 gigs is apparently way not enough to even run like 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year-old games correctly. So I had to go here and change it to 8. Ideally, it would be 6 apparently, but they have not updated the BIOS to have that option. But what I'm disappointed in is that I can't believe the engineers and the product designers at Lenovo didn't tune that setting, test games that make sense on here and adjust that setting default to be something that's optimal trade-off between amount of system RAM and amount of VRAM. It seems like they just didn't do anything at all when they did that. It's just, oh, that's the default one, let's leave it on there, whatever. Even though this is also a very well-known topic with the same chipset on the ROG Ally. It just seems like Lenovo put very low effort into tuning this setting.
Overall thoughts about these issues is that most of them can be mitigated or fixed with software updates. So the speakers can be improved through software tuning, maybe some equalization, maybe they'll find out they can boost the power to the speakers a little bit more to make them louder. The fan noise curve can be tuned or made customizable by users so that it doesn't annoy them. The dead zone on the joysticks can be fixed, and the quick settings menu can be revised again, layout-wise and functionality-wise, so that it opens during full screen. The only thing that can really change is that button placement on the back of the Legion Go. I think you'll just have to not bind those to anything if you don't want to have any misinputs due to resting your fingers on the buttons themselves. Now, because of those reasons, I think you should wait, because since they can be fixed in software, they'll be fixed, but it'll take some time. It'll take some time for Lenovo to make the updates, validate them, then push them out to the masses. And in that time, which I'm thinking is probably like 3 to 6 months, the price will go on sale. So instead of MSRP, you'll get $50 to $100 off. Also, a lot of people are having buyer's remorse. I always see people on the Lenovo Legion Go subreddit already returning units due to the issues that they have. So you'll be able to pick up, basically what is a new one at Best Buy, Open Box Excellent or whatever for maybe like $100 to $150 off. Plus, you'll have a better experience whenever you do decide to go get it, given the fixes that they'll implement between now and that time. So yeah, if you don't really need it right now, just wait, you'll get it cheaper and you'll get a better product.